A very good afternoon, friends. So today I am continuing with one of the most important topic, that is fundamental rights. In this session, I will be telling you what is a fundamental right, what are the various articles that belongs to the concept of fundamental rights, what is the part of the constitution that has the fundamental rights, and what are some of the important features of these fundamental rights. So let's begin. So fundamental rights are those rights that are enshrined in the constitution, and they're guaranteed by the constitution to all the persons without any discrimination. So they uphold the equality of all individuals, and they are meant to promote the concept of political democracy. Okay, so these fundamental rights are those rights that are contained in the part 3 of the constitution. Okay, they're enshrined in part 3 of the constitution from articles 12 to 35. Okay, so in this article number 12 and 13 actually do not fall exactly under the concept of fundamental rights. So article number 12 basically defines what is a state as regards to the concept of fundamental rights, and article number 13 basically defines what are the things that are derogatory. So what are the things, if valid, will undermine the concept of fundamental rights, or in other words, it basically prohibits any other legislation that violates the concept of fundamental rights. Okay, so as I've already mentioned, it is present in part 3 of the Constitution, and essentially they are justiciable. What is justiciable? It implies that if these rights are violated, then the person who is affected can approach the Supreme Court under Article 32, that is known as the right to constitutional remedies, or he can also approach the High Court concerned under Article 226. Okay, now after that, I'm going to say some of the important things, okay, relating to this particular fundamental rights. Okay, now what are the things that makes a fundamental right will be dealt with further advancement of my lectures, but briefly I will tell you in the original constitution what was mentioned. Okay, so in the original constitution we had 7 fundamental rights as such. Article number 1 pertains to rights to equality, that is article number 14 to 18. Again, second fundamental right is right to freedom, that is mentioned under the articles 19 to 22. Similarly, right against exploitation is mentioned in article 23 to 24. Then comes right to freedom of religion. It is enshrined in the articles 25 to 28. Then the cultural and educational rights are enshrined from article 29 to article 30. Then comes the right to property, that comes under article 31. Then finally the right to constitutional remedies comes under the article number 32. Now there was an amendment. Okay, if we talk about this particular article, that is right to property, so through the 44th constitutional amendment, this particular article relating to the right to property was removed, or you can say this was deleted. Okay, so why this was done is a long story that will be cut short. Through this concept is that, so government wanted to use some of the unutilized land in order to make various public infrastructures, like public infrastructures like road, government buildings, and in order to do so, the government found that they are violating the right to property. So this particular right have been abrogated or removed, so that the government, for the greater good of the society, can implement various infrastructural various activities can be done that will now no longer be liable to this particular property, that is the right to property or this particular article. So in order to have a better good for the society, this particular article was removed to the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978. Okay, and now it is only a constitutional under Article 300A. Okay, it is a constitutional right but not a fundamental right. So now we have 6 fundamental rights, okay, total as of today, after the abrogation of right to property. Okay, now here one thing I want to tell you, or I want to say, that these things, these fundamental rights cannot be changed or manipulated by ordinary legislation, but it requires a constitutional amendment as such in order to bring a change in these particular rights. But if it is a simple law, then a simple legislation is enough.